Now listen to me, folks. If you ride the late train long enough, you will start to notice patterns. Like the same woman on the platform, same empty space beside her, and the reflection in the glass doesn't match what's standing there. See, they say her husband didn't die. They say he was replaced. And by the time that she had named him Mr. Nightbone, I had already lost her. She said the name softly, almost fondly, like you'd name a stray you meant to keep. I pretended it didn't land in my chest like a nail. I pretended a lot of things back then. Pretended I didn't notice how she timed her evenings around the late train. How she grew restless. She was late. How she came home hollowed, yet full at the same time. See, I never saw the ghost at first, but I damn sure felt it. The house grew colder in ways the thermostat couldn't explain. Corners, they felt occupied. My wife would pause mid-sentence, smiling at nothing, listening to something that softened her eyes, the way they used to soften for me. Sometimes she reached into empty air and shivered, like someone had whispered her name in a language that only lovers know. When I finally asked her, she didn't deny it. She told me that this man was patient. She told me this man never rushed. She told me he made her feel chosen. I stood there, alive, breathing, aging, realized none of those things were advantages anymore. I tried to compete. God help me, I did try to compete. I touched her carefully, spoke gently, relearned the shape of her like she was new again. But every effort felt clumsy, rehearsed. I could see it in her eyes when she looked at me. Love? Yes. Let's love you, give an old photograph. Grief didn't explode. It settled. Filled me slowly, like damp concrete setting around my ribs. The night she told me she was pregnant, I laughed, not because it was funny, but because the alternative was screaming. Doctor said it couldn't happen. She said it already had. Her hand rested protectively on her stomach, and I knew without asking who the father was. That was the night I saw him. Mr. Nightbone stood behind her in the mirror, long and wrong, like a shadow stretched way too far. His face was half suggestion, half memory, and his smile was sharp with amusement. He didn't look at her, he looked at me. And after that, followed me. In the dark glass of the train windows, storefront reflection. In my own eyes when I couldn't sleep, always smirking, always close. She grew quieter as the pregnancy progressed, not weaker, emptier, like something ancient was being poured into her, pushing everything else out. Sometimes I heard her whispering apologies at night, meant for someone who wasn't me. Sometimes I woke to the weight of another presence pressing into the mattress, close enough that I couldn't breathe. The saddest part isn't that she chose a ghost over her husband, it's that the damn ghost never had to choose at all. He owned the nights, the station, the child, and eventually he owned whatever part of her was left when the living world became too small to hold her. See, I still ride the train, and when the lights flicker and the glass darkens, I see him, one hand resting on her stomach, the other lifting in a slow, mocking wave. A reminder, some losses don't come from death, they come from learning you are never enough to haunt someone back. My name is Cana. I'm 27, white, good looking, built well enough people notice when I walk into a room. I've always had the kind of charisma that opens doors without ever even trying. And still, Mr. Nightbone took my wife. After that day, every part of my life unraveled like a bad lie told too many times. I lost focus, lost purpose, I lost sleep, and eventually I lost her entirely to something that wasn't even alive. So I boarded the late train back to Miami for the weekend. 6.5 hours of steel rails and flickering lights. Long enough to forget, long enough to sink. The rhythm of the train hypnotized me, rocked me into a heavy, dreamless sleep. But somewhere near Cocoa, I woke up. That's when the unease hit me. Not fear, but recognition. A man was sitting beside me. I had noticed him before. He wore a white suit, way too clean for a midnight train, and smiled like he already knew how this would end. "Hello, Cana," he said casually. My stomach dropped. "My name is Lemon, and it's really too bad your lovely wife chose a ghost over you." My throat went dry. Kinda makes a man question what's real and what's not. Glancing out the window as the darkness rushed past us, he continued. I stood up. "How do you know my name?" Chuckled softly. "Sit down. You'll want to hear this." I didn't remember sitting, but suddenly I was. "You see, Cana," Lemon said, holding his hands. "I'm here to help you. A fresh life. All the amenities. A great job. Big money. Fancy cars. Any woman you could ever want." He leaned closer. "Doesn't that sound awesome?" I swallowed. "Who the hell are you?" "Well, I am not a stranger," he replied. "Not really. I've known you for years. Watched you grind through a life that was never fair. Working yourself to exhaustion, just to lose everything anyway." His smile sharpened. "That's why I'm offering you a way out." I shook my head. "Nothing's free." "Exactly," Lemon said. "And money won't buy what I'm offering. Only I can." He extended his hand. "Hold it, just for a moment. Let's take a quick trip." The world folded. Suddenly, I was standing beside an Aston Martin, midnight black, custom down to the stitching. "You like it?" Lemon asked. "Of course you do. Let's check the house now. Star Island, Biscayne Bay, glass floors, a pool that bled into the ocean. Smart walls, smart lights, smart locks, smart everything. Everything is obedient. Everything mine. A Benetti yacht rested at the dock like it had been waiting for me its whole life. Servants, obviously," Lemon said. "You shouldn't lift a finger ever again." Now we're at Miami International Airport. My private jet gleamed under floodlights. "No more nasty-ass trains," Lemon laughed. "Even matches the Aston." The world was perfect. Too perfect. The train snapped back around us. The lights flickered. The smell of metal and old fabric returned. "Smooth ride back, eh?" "Yes," Lemon said. I finally found my voice. "Okay, what's the price?" He smiled wide enough to hurt. "Of course, Cana," he said gently. "It's your soul!" The train screamed as it rushed forward into the dark. And Lemon never blinked. Yep, I did sign the contract from Lemon, and he held true to every word. I owned my own business. I had fleets of exotic cars, Star Island property, and a yacht that could cut through the ocean like it owned it. There were women everywhere. Curvaceous Latinas, women from every island you could name, and a few you probably couldn't. And for years, I thought I had it all. And the worst part, I truly believed that. I traveled the world more times than I can count. I even bought an island in the Bahamas, just because I could. From the outside, my life looked like the definition of complete success. The kind of life people envy, the kind of life people think would finally make them whole. And then one morning, I woke up and I realized I didn't have it all. I was missing something very fundamental, something every human being yearns for, whether they admit it or not. And that's love. Not the things you love, not the lifestyle, not the power or the pleasure. Real love. And the worst part was realizing my prime years had already passed me by. I hadn't experienced love since Mr. Nightbone took my wife. That was the last time it was real. After that, everything blurred together. Faces, places, nights that meant nothing the moment the sun came up. I think I came close once. There was a sweet, beautiful Cuban woman. She fell hard for me. And I cared about her deeply too. Truly cared. There was no confusion about that. But see, she was deeply rooted in her faith. Church every week, a full believer. No intimacy without marriage. Holding hands was as far as it ever went. Normally, no way would I have stayed, but I did because I cared. I even went to church with her more than once. And then one particular Sunday, something happened. Sermon reached out and it grabbed me. I felt what they call the Holy Ghost. It washed over me, heavy and undeniable. And then, just like that, it hit me. Like a Category 5 hurricane, and I was standing at ground zero. I didn't belong there. Church couldn't save me. Jesus couldn't do anything for me. Not because they were not real, but because I had already done the one thing you're never supposed to do. I had sold my soul. I signed it away to the enemy, the prince of darkness, the root of all evil. They tell you that if you're saved, when you die, your soul goes to heaven. But you see, I only have one soul, and I gave it away years ago. So when Lemon offered me a way out, I took it. Because I was only looking at the material things, not the things that really mattered in life. Maybe what he meant was he offered me a way out of love, out of heaven, out of something I was never meant to have again. See, decisions are a bitch like that. I really thought I had thought it through. I was sure of it back then. But now, looking back, I see it clearly. I didn't just make a bad deal. I made an eternal mistake. So if you ever find yourself standing where I once stood, pen in hand, future laid out in promises, make the right decision when it comes your way. Because some things can't be brought back. Some contracts don't come with fine print until it's way too late.